Look, we all know that s1mple is nuts.
s1mple just jumping casually into the side. He's gonna fall down again. What is this clutch from s1mple? Are you serious?
14 seconds, they've got to get out. s1mple gets only one in return. Jumps up and somehow finds Sergey, but he hasn't found the bomb. He will now. And he goes away from default because he doesn't want to get naded. He also knows there's a flank, and he also knows he needs position. Whoa! He actually gets the first one. He's got a chance. He knows Alu's up close, and he sneaks around. Oh, that's what we like from s1mple.
He needs a multi-kill. First found. Twist aggressing. They have to double peek. He's getting his shots. He's hitting another one. s1mple. No, s1mple. That's unbelievable.
But is he truly the unquestionable GOAT of CSGO? Like, to the point that it's just not even a conversation. He doesn't have the most majors, has never really stood at the center of a so-called era, and his trophy case isn't as chock full of silverware as some of his contemporaries. s1mple's talent is generational, but he just doesn't have the most accolades.
I think Device could have an argument for best player. s1mple on an individually skilled level is obviously like by far the best. At some point when you have a conversation around the greatest player, I think you do need to include, you know, the team accolades in there.
So why is it that the vast majority of the community commonly considers Sasha The Smasha to be the greatest gunner ever to grace Global Offensive?
And the guy doing that is s1mple. Here we go. Oh my god, that's insane. What a quick scope.
No way he wins this.
Oh!
If there was someone openly cheating, trying to 1v1 s1mple, I'd put money on s1mple, bro.
Everyone knows why Faker is the GOAT in League. He's got the talent, the titles, the consistency, the competitive prestige, the cultural influence, the cleanse, the moves, all of it. With Faker, it's, well, simple.
Gang looking to come in. Here comes your initiation. There is oh my god! Your shockwave will find them all!
With s1mple, though, it's, I wouldn't say anything but it's a little bit deeper than that.
Being the best player in the world is not just clicking on a keyboard or a mouse. This is what we all witness right now. We are witnessing the evolution of s1mple.
On some level, s1mple is CSGO. The question is why? And more importantly, what really makes a GOAT? All right, Counter-Strike fans, before we start talking about s1mple, I just gotta let you all know that we at theScore Esports have an official FACEIT clan. You can join totally for free, climb the leaderboards, win points, you can play with your friends, or you can play with me. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern over on YouTube, so if you're trying to pug, feel free to hop in. You can find the link in the description below. Okay, so if you spend like any amount of time talking to fans of other esports, people who don't spend every waking second living and breathing CSGO, you'll often find that they express a genuine sense of confusion over s1mple's GOAT status. And from an outsider standpoint, it sort of makes sense. Make no mistake, Ukrainian sensation Oleksandr s1mple Kostylyev is a superstar, a symbol, and everything in between. He's got the salary, the stream, the social following, the status, is for all intents and purposes the face of CSGO, and has been for over half a decade. But here's the thing. He is far from the most winningest player in CSGO history. Like, far, far. Now, don't get me wrong, the boy certainly has drip. And by that I mean all the requisites you'd need to be a GOAT contender. 3 HLTV #1s, the most ever, 21 MVPs, also the most ever, a Grand Slam, and a Major, for which he was awarded the title of MVP. But a lot of other CSGO greats have achieved something comparable, and since, well, it really is sort of a contest, it serves us to whip out the tape and start measuring. coldzera may only have 2 HLTV #1s, but he also has 2 back-to-back majors versus s1mple's 1. He is also the proud perpetrator of what is arguably the most famous play in the history of competitive Counter-Strike. Even more famous than s1mple's falling op, the jumping op.
Here he comes once again. The first base is a Dren. He's going to hit the ground there. It's Cold. Oh, what? A jumping double from Cold. What is going on right now? How does he do this?
Our Canadian homeboy Twists also has a major and is the only player in history with 2 Grand Slams.
It's very important for my legacy to accomplish this twice. I feel like somehow there's still a debate whether or not, I'm the most accomplished NA player. I kind of try to seal that every chance that I get. You know, I want to be, you know, this figure in North America. I want to, you know, prove that everything I did was worth it.
This will be some time to find out the rat in the hole.
Do you consider that?
He did look. He sees him, and he slaps him down. Back of the skull. Breaks Navi's backs.
Olaf has 23 notable tournament wins, back-to-back majors, an HLTV #1, 2 graffitis, and was, at one point, the biggest franchise player in the world.
I'd say Olaf. He was way more impressive than, like, say, when Coldzera was the best. Olaf was entering, creating space for his team, and he was still considered #1 player. And he always had all these plays that he would make, and he didn't really rely on his teammates. He kind of just was his blunt, his brute force.
Olaf Meister again up on short aggressively to get that kill. Grenade into lower dark, and it's quite perfect. Look at that device engagement very low. Olaf Meister knocking them down. And that is going to be a nice triple.
ZywOo just won his first major. It may very well end 2023 with his 3rd HLTV #1, and is undeniably the single greatest prodigy CSGO has ever seen.
Fnatic don't want to give him 1v1s. Crims with that jiggle has given ZywOo a chance. My God, he's a ZywOo!
But there's one raid boss against whom s1mple is constantly compared. Device. 24 trophies, 4 majors, 3 of which were consecutive, 19 MVPs, 2 of which were at majors, 8 appearances on the HLTV Top 20. The man has the consistency of a repeating decimal and the accolades to show for it.
Device just had a really rough game, flashed, he's gonna get that shot, and that has to feel a little bit going out middle of the air to take down Alex, and now they're pushing. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! He takes every single one!
So why isn't Deva the GOAT? Well, you could argue that he is, and some people have.
I think Device could have an argument for best player, but s1mple on an individually skilled level is obviously like by far the best. But in terms of, at some point when you have a conversation around the greatest player, I think you do need to include, you know, the team accolades in there, which I know is going to be probably a controversial opinion. But, you know, once you get to the greatest player, it's no longer the best player, and the greatest players win championships. And I think Device is obviously far away with that one.
And yet,
in my opinion, the GOAT of Counter-Strike is definitely has to be s1mple.
I would say it's s1mple.
Best player of all time, s1mple.
The answer is s1mple, and yeah, it's definitely s1mple.
Now, again, to be clear, there are statistical reasons to regard s1mple as the GOAT. In addition to being the only 3-time HLTV #1, the peaks he's hit over the course of his career have been otherworldly. s1mple reached unimaginable heights in 2018, and then as soon as ZywOo started catching up, s1mple somehow, some way outdid even himself.
Nasty stuff, but s1mple's gonna get himself. Oh! That is something special.
And while it is important to understand the underlying science of s1mple's greatness, that's not really what defines it. The thing that makes s1mple s1mple isn't just that he frags. It's how he frags.
Nitro does have a Molotov and another smoke, so it could be really rough for s1mple to actually get through this. He's gonna throw the AWP in. Oh my God, s1mple, what is happening?
The guy just does shit. Shit that no one else should even attempt. There's almost an aura he emits, this feeling that so long as he is in the server, anything can happen. That the rules of Counter-Strike are ready to bend for him and him alone.
Double smokes in the same place there. s1mple just jumping casually into the side. He's gonna fall down again. What is this clutch from s1mple? Are you serious?
s1mple hasn't just mastered CSGO. He is CSGO. His goathood doesn't just stem from his stats, it stems from his demeanor, his uncompromising attitude, the struggle that became his story, his loyalty, his humanity, his anger, the fact that he knows that he's the greatest of all time and flexes it.
Okay, who's better, you or ZywOo?
Me, of course.
Who's better, you or Monacy?
Okay, stop.
So s1mple's the GOAT.
I don't know, probably.
He embodies the intangibility of being the best better than anyone else in CSGO. The title of GOAT wasn't just bestowed upon s1mple, he took it for himself. He is the GOAT because we, the community, say he is. And therein lies the trick. You may think that the undefinable je ne sais quoi quality of s1mple's GOAT status is special or unique. Let me assure you, it isn't. Across every sport, whether of the analog or e-variety, there are countless examples of greatest of all time contenders whose status was assigned solely based on, as the kids say, vibes. I'll give you an example. Wayne Gretzky, the most famous hockey player ever to live, holds 58 NHL records. Arguably the most decorated athlete in the history of team sports. And yet, by many people's reckoning, myself included, he isn't the GOAT. That title belongs to none other than Bobby Orr, a medium-sized, injury-plagued defenseman who revolutionized hockey as we know it. And in that regard, Bobby Orr is not alone. Babe Ruth, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Roger Federer, Pele, Maradona, maybe even Messi. Sure, they have the titles, but it's not really about that. It's about the magic they weaved, the awe they inspired, the impact they had both competitively and culturally. And it's the same in esports. Daigo Umehara may not hold the most titles or boast the greatest statistics, but he is sure as shit the greatest Street Fighter player ever to walk the earth. StarCraft Divinity Flash isn't the GOAT because he holds the most Kespa points or boasted a 70% win rate in every matchup. It's because of his stature, his swagger, his monikers, the fact that he switched his race to random and kept winning, that he's the greatest gamer to ever live. Similarly, s1mple isn't really the GOAT of CSGO because of his slam, his major, or even his statistics. He's the GOAT because if, as fighting game great Tokido once hypothesized, if the aliens invaded tomorrow and told us that we as a species had to pick one representative to play for the fate of Counter-Strike, that player would be s1mple. Because when the chips are down, there is nothing that this man cannot do. Even his failures are spectacular.
But all this does is serve to allow Alexi to come out from jungle. Watch it, because he's got the lineup s1mple. He doesn't have the time. He's got to go to the AK, get the kill. This guy is on another level. He's going to have time to put the bomb down. And X7, he knows he's in rotation to flash out. He's got the information. He's got just enough. He goes back to the AWP. But is that what's going to cost him? It is. It is going to cost him.
Everything he does is an attraction in and of itself. No amount of silverware can offset that type of popularity. It can spawn it, but never supplant it.
We're addicted to s1mple at this point. Every conversation we have is surrounding s1mple. Will Na'Vi have an era? Will s1mple ever get a major? Who's the best player in the world?
Лучшая для тебя покупка. Красавчик.
He may not always come out on top, but he is, unquestionably, the most fearsome force global offensive has ever known. We know it, he knows it, hell, even his opponents know it, and he will take any excuse to remind them.
It's 1v2 this time around, and s1mple running at him. Hey! What a way to end it!
But, as with any GOAT, his talent, fame, and notoriety extend far beyond his own domain. s1mple isn't just the king of Counter-Strike. He's the face of FPS. The fragger to whom every fan of the genre will readily bend their knee. Why? Because he's earned it. Because his relentless work ethic and insatiable ego demand it.
If I would just sit instead of any Na'Vi player right now, I would destroy them.
Easy 16-0?
Okay. I don't even need skills. That's why I play Reyna.
Just give me Reyna and
yeah,
and stay
I don't
away.
buy armor, I don't buy flashes, I buy the 2 spells, 1 down, and let's go. Let's get it.
Because he's s1mple.
s1mple? s1mple?
Caracas.
s1mple? s1mple? s1mple!
Hey guys, so if you watch this video, there's a good chance that you're really into s1mple. So I thought you'd like to know that we actually made a separate super cool video about s1mple's come up, how he became the GOAT. It's called Into the Dark. It's on our channel. Be sure to check it out.